my Doctor Who DVD collection.
Is Captain Jack Harkness the face of both?
Hello and welcome to WhoTube Gallifrey 02 and my episode preview for episode 6 of series 10 of Doctor Who Extremis, written by Stephen Moffat and directed by Daniel Nakhim. And yeah, this episode looks absolutely amazing. I think I'm going to love this episode a lot more than the past two episodes. A, because this episode is set in several locations, love episodes which are set worldwide, such as Enemy of the World, Journey's End, you know, episodes which are worldwide. I think they're very good. And B, because every episode 6 of the modern era, I like every episode 6. There's not really any episode 6 stories of modern Who I do not like. So yeah, probably gonna like this. And yeah, personally, the synopsis for this story looks absolutely amazing. The Next Time trailer looks amazing. The trailer and the preview also looks amazing. This episode looks to be full of action, adventure, comedy, and yeah, looks amazing. So yeah, first of all, I'm going to read out the synopsis for this story, then I'm going to give my thoughts on what I think will happen. So yeah, in a nutshell, there is a text buried deep in the Vatican, a text older than the church itself. The language is lost, but thanks to the works of an early Christian sect, the title has survived. Veritas. All copies of the sect's translation disappeared shortly after their mass suicide, but then a few months ago the Veritas was translated again and leaked online, meaning the whole world was at stake. And what does it say? No one knows, because everyone who has worked on the translation is now dead by their own hand. All bodies recovered, except one. Who is the one person? Well, Missy is back in this story. Could she have been the one who translated it? She's up to no good. Yeah, she could have translated it. But is Missy the master? Yes, she could not be the master. As John Sim is also returning in the series, I do believe Missy is the one behind the vault and not John Sim's master, as a lot of people are speculating. And yeah, first appearance of the monks in this story, who look absolutely amazing, very sinister monks. And yeah, also in this episode, first of the mid-series three-parter, all written by 3 different writers, but yeah, looks amazing. All 3 stories link in with each other, just like the whole series is doing really. Every story has continued on from the other story, apart from Smile continuing from the pilot. It kind of did, but yeah, all the other ones have carried on pretty much directly from the other one. So yeah, loving this series so far. And yeah, hopefully this episode will be the best, as I'm highly anticipating this story, as it is the story I am most looking forward to of this series. Last series it was Face the Raven, thought it was brilliant. The series before, it was surprisingly In the Forest of the Night. Liked it on the first viewing, but then after that, I just continued to hate that story. Every time I watch that story, I just hate it more and more. So I've given up watching it because I don't want to hate it anymore. And yeah. Okay, so yeah. What do I think will happen in this episode? Well, the Pope is in this episode for the very first time. The Pope has never been in a Doctor Who episode before. On a preview clip for this episode, which is funny, please go and check it out. It's on the Doctor Who YouTube channel. Bill is with one of her friends in her flat, and yeah, the Pope walks through the door. Her friend's reaction is so funny. I don't know what's going through her head right now, but she's like, it's the Pope. And you know, it is very awkward for Bill, knowing that the TARDIS has landed in her bedroom and has brought a Pope and a load of other Pope vicars and stuff like that to her house. So yeah, monks are also in this episode. Are they the headless monks before they get beheaded? They could be, that's a theory I have been speculating. And yeah, what else do I think will happen in this episode? Well, part of it does take place in America, as on a promo pic in the DWM, the Doctor is sat in the Oval Office, with his sonic shades on. The Doctor is also blind in this episode again, which kind of means that the Doctor won't be able to see anything, but just why can't he use regeneration energy to restore his eyesight? He can regenerate hands and stuff like that, like he did in The Angels Take Manhattan. What's saying why can't he just regenerate his eyes? I really don't get what it is, but yeah. We'll just have to wait and see if the Doctor manages to get his sight back. Another episode written by Stephen Moffat. Think it's going to be good. Please don't mess it up, Stephen Moffat. I know you're kind of a 50-50 writer. You either love Stephen Moffat's stories or you hate Stephen Moffat's stories. He's one of those people, similar to Mark Gatiss actually. So yeah, Stephen Moffat, think he's going to be great in this episode. Guest stars in this episode, well, Missy's back, Nardal's in it again. Hopefully Nardal's going to be okay in this episode, as he was okay in Oxygen. Nardal is not as bad as my initial thoughts when I first found out he was going to be companion. Only in November 2016. I know, he was announced in June 2016. I didn't really find out he was going to be companion to November 2016. I wasn't really in touch with the Doctor Who fandom back then, but I was still a Doctor Who fan. I just was more of a classic fan back then, and I'd really abandoned Modern Who. I wasn't bothered about Series 10, but now I am loving Series 10. And yeah, is Donald Trump going to be in this episode, as the Doctor is seen at in the Oval Office? He could be, his shadow might appear. Richard Nixon's been in Doctor Who, so what's to say Donald Trump can't be in Doctor Who? He might be. The Pope's in this episode. Why shouldn't Donald Trump show up? So yeah, Prime Minister is rumoured to be in this episode, as Stephen Moffat in the DWM says. We brought in the American President, we brought in the Prime Minister, and now we brought in the Pope. So yeah, the Prime Minister might be in it as well. That's debatable. And yeah, very good. This episode looks very good indeed. A lot of great scenery in this episode, set in 4 different countries, both the UK, the USA, Italy, probably, as they go to Vatican City, which is a country in the centre of Italy. So yeah, probably going to see a bit of Italy in the story, possibly some other countries. And yeah, we'll just have to wait and see when this episode comes out. And yeah, very looking forward to this mid-3-parter, as it looks absolutely awesome. Apart from the very long title for episode 7, The Pyramid at the End of the World. But it still looks good, that episode. And yeah, the Live to Land, an episode which no one knows much about. It's not being talked about much. And yeah, it's a very mysterious episode, that one, because there's not been much revealed about it. So yeah, looking forward to this series. Oh, and yes, I'm just looking for you through DWM now, and there is a brand new comic with Bill in it. So yeah, gonna read that now. So until the next time, goodbye.